How you doing? So let's talk about a very important topic. So which MCOC YouTuber should you follow when it comes to the best champions in the game when it comes to the tier list? So let's take a look at some tier lists. So when it comes to Trappy, he has his own different tier list. Vegas his own different tier list. Legacy has his own different tier list, and Allison thinks Ronan is the best champion in the game. Nobody else thinks that, but you know, she thinks that way. So let me mention something about this one. I know I'm gonna get off tangent here, but this guy says he's not pro Kabam, but he mentioned something about Dracula. He says Dracula is pretty good. That's like that's definitely pro Kabam. A pro Kabam player would say. Nobody with common sense would say Dracula is pretty good. Okay, like it's really disappointed. You have Dracula who's so powerful when it comes to the comics, and yet when it comes to the game, he sucks. Okay, like Nick Fury, who's just a human, not even a Batman level, and he's like one of the most powerful champions in the game, right? Like what the heck? And then Nico Munuru, who I don't know much about, but I'm pretty sure he's not as powerful as Dracula in the comics. He's way better than Dracula. Somebody with common sense would say Nico Munuro is pretty good champion, okay? But not Dracula, okay? The only person that would say that Dracula is pretty good champion is Simula, but he's a pro Kabam player. So, you know, it's just disappointing when you see these super powerful champions like Silver Surfer. Oh my goodness. Do you realize how powerful the Silver Surfer is in the comics? And then he turned out to be a dud. Okay, maybe he's mid. You could say that, but that's really at best. He's definitely not an OP champion. So, going back to Allison, nobody else thinks that Ronin is good, okay? Besides Allison, okay? If you follow my tier, if I had a tier list, Vegas tier list, Trappist tier list, Legacy tier list, you would think that Ronin sucks, okay? But maybe you don't follow people's tier list, okay? You just kind of like, you don't live in social media. And then you said, I like Ronin as a character. I'm going to play Ronin, okay? After, you play him 100 hours, you realize he's mid. Okay, but, he's not the best champion in the game, but he's definitely better than what most people think. If you follow my tier, if I had a tier list, Vegas tier list, Legacy tier list, Preppers tier list, you would think that Ronin sucks, and then you realize he's actually not that bad of a champion, and that's really the thing I want to get to. So, what do you guys think? If you follow my channel, you already know my answer to this. Let me know. Pause the video, comment below. This is really kind of shows you who really follows my channel. What do you think my answer is? Who should you follow when it comes to the tier list? Okay, pause the video. Let me know who do I think. So, who should you follow when it comes to tier list? Absolutely no one. Okay, not even me. So why is that? Because if you follow somebody's tier list, you're not able to think critically. Okay, you're not gonna, like I said, Allison, when it comes to Ronin, is a good example of that. Okay, like nobody else thinks that Ronin is good besides Allison, but that's a good thing because you're able to think critically. If you want to be good at this game, you can't rely on people's tier list. You have to know which champion is good when it comes to the game, and that's actually everybody has their own tier list. Of course, everybody has their bias when it comes to who the best champions in the game is, but that's actually a good thing. So why is that a good thing? Okay, so the point I'm trying to say is you need to be able to think critically. Okay, there was a time when people said, like, if they had to vote, that people would say Doom was the best Mystic champion in the game. Okay, and you're just gonna, I follow this guy, that means Doom must be the best champion in the game. Okay, when Diablo got a buff, when I look at his buff details, I knew without a doubt he was the best buff at that time. Obviously, Mr. Sinister's buff is better, but at the time, he Diablo before Mr. Sinister got a buff, that he was the best buff in MCOC without a doubt. Okay, and I saw, in my opinion, at the time, that he was better than Doctor Doom. So when it comes to the champion boss, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go there because I'm currently stuck in Necropolis. So at the time, I used when it comes to the champion, this was like pre-nerf. Okay, this is not like the champion boss that you see now, where you got mid 4-star Ronin soloing champion boss. So it's a joke now. It's unfortunate. Perhaps I'll make a different video when it comes to Act 6. How it's more nostalgia, I don't know, but a lot of people that been playing this game a long time are a little disappointed they nerf Act 6. Perhaps a different video. But so this is pre-nerf champion boss, okay? I could not get through it with a 6-star rank 2 Doctor Doom, okay? Because his block penetration was so stupid when it comes to the champion boss. Like, you would just get KO. You couldn't really, do much about it. I used boost, I used units, I think 1,000 units. I couldn't get through it. Then Diablo, I looked at Diablo's buff, without a doubt, best buff in MCOC. In my opinion, best Mystic champion in the game. I did that. I did like 8 out of 10 fights, 8 or 9 out of the 10 fights, including the champion boss. I soloed using 5-star Diablo, by the way. But this is dang it, I should have wanted a 5-star. Dang it, I shouldn't use the 5-star. That's my bad. Where's he at? Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. So this one is not ascended, which is perfect. This is the character I used, itemless. And not just the champion. It was like at least 8, if not 9 out of 10 fights. I used the Diablo. And I was like one hit away to soloing it with 100% health. This was pre-nerf the champion, okay, boss in 6.2.6, I believe. So if I was followed what everybody thinks in the game, then I won't be able to think critically. I won't be able to use Diablo to beat the champion boss. So why is Diablo good champion for at the time? Because he's with Mystic Dispersion. He just keeps be able to just spam special attack. Not to mention, he just keeps regenning all the time. So even, like the champion kept like doing so much damage to you, he just able to regen all that health back, and I almost finished it with 100%. It's in the channel somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is. So it's be able to think critically. That's why you shouldn't follow anybody's tier list. And like, it's not only that, everybody has different tier lists, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So why is that a very good thing when I mean by everybody has different tier lists, okay? So if everybody thinks that Mr. Sinister is the best champion in the game, facts, but then this game would be boring. Obviously, Mr. Sinister would be broken if that was the case, okay? And a lot of people still don't know the difference between OP and broken. And really, the difference between OP and broken, there's such a big difference, okay? There's such a big difference, okay? When it comes to the two. So, if Mr. Sinister could solo every fight in the game in one hit, everybody would, obviously, would be broken, but he would be like, what is this? It would be like bad for the game, obviously, but it would be boring, right? And that's why it's good that everybody has a different opinion who the best champion in the game is. So, as like I mentioned, there's a big difference between OP and broken. And unfortunately, not many people know the difference. So if most people think that Mr. Sinister is the best champion, then he'll be OP. So there is actually a champion more powerful than Mr. Sinister even before he got nerfed, okay? And even more powerful than Hercules in his prime, Onslaught on his prime before Mr. Sinister got a buff, and Mr. Sinister pre-nerf, okay? Even more powerful than them. Let me just tell you who it is, okay? Let me know in the comment section who actually it is. Let me just give you a hint. He's actually available. So it's a guy. He's available as a 7-star. And let me think about it. Okay, more dominant than Mr. Sinister Pre-Nerf, Onslaught, and his prime, Hercules in his prime, more dominant than they are. Okay, it is a skill champion, available as a 7-star. It's a guy. Can you guys guess who it is? Let me know in the comments section. It's Ronin. I'm just kidding. It's not Ronin. Okay, so all right, so it's Blade. If you play this game long enough, there was nobody in this game, in my mind, in my opinion, I believe, was more dominant than Blade. Okay, Eh, not I don't even know if it's even close. Okay, more dominant than Hercules in his prime, more dominant than Mr. Sinister pre-nerf, more dominant than Onslaught on his prime. I mean, this guy, every and I just started playing the game. Okay, this was October 2017. Back then, everybody ranked Blade. Okay, everybody ranked Blade. Back then, you couldn't change your profile. Your profile is basically gonna be like your highest ranked champion. Okay, in this case, it was every pretty much when it comes to Alliance Tier War, there was no battlegrounds back then. But when it comes to Alliance Tier, especially like Tier 1, like the highest tier, everybody ranked up their Blade, and Blade was pretty much without a doubt the best champion in the game at the time. Okay, more dominant, the most dominant champion in the game. I don't even think it's close. Maybe not. Okay, but and 3 years later, this guy becomes obsolete. Okay, I don't even think when it comes to new players, they would realize Blade is in the game. So really, you gotta be careful calling champions broken. Okay, I think nobody really called Blade broken. I think a lot of people called him OP for sure, but not broken. I don't know who came up with broken, but they realized, man, if we call champions broken, we can get a lot of views. You can get, I think it's mostly for clickbait views, I guess. But, I don't know who came up with this idea calling champions broken, which is completely false. But this guy was OP, more dominant than any champion in the game. And 3 years later, it became obsolete. And it's just unfortunate, really, okay? So, like I mentioned, you have to be able to think critically, be able to think different, okay? I was actually at a time where I was Allison, where nobody else believes me, okay? When it comes to Ronin, nobody else believes Allison that she's the best champion in the game, right? Besides her. But there was a time that was the case when it comes to myself. I was, if I wasn't able to think critically, if I just follow somebody's tier list, I would never ever knew that this champion was better than Hercules. Let me just explain to you what I mean by that. So there was a time when I had the Allison moment. You know how nobody else thinks that Ronin is good besides Allison. There was actually a time that was the case for me. What I mean by that. I'm talking about incursion. Okay, so if you follow Karate's Mike advice, by the way, this guy works for Kabam now. So if I follow or you follow, I guess it doesn't really matter. But like, let's say for me, if I follow his video advice, who the best champion when it comes to incursion, I would never known who was the best champion in incursion is. Okay, I wouldn't be. That's the important thing about being able to think differently than everybody else, to think critically. So I said this was me. Angela is without a doubt best champion for incursion. Okay, so by the way, I said here as well, Hella is the only champ that can compete with her. If she was nullify immune, she would be number one, I think. So right now, so basically, I said this. Okay, so and then what did he say? My dude, Hercules is number one. It's not in there. Isn't even remotely close, by the way. That's what he said. See, that's the thing about tier list 2. When people have opinions, they're biased, right? They don't think clearly. They think differently because they think it's a lot of it. There's bias involved, of course. So my dude, Hercules number one. It ain't even remotely close. So this guy, this guy like obviously likes Hercules. He did like a cosplay using her. Obviously, he voted for Hercules and he did all this cosplay. So he was completely biased when it comes to Hercules being the best champion incursion. So and I said Angela is without a doubt the best champion in incursion. Okay, there's only 2 times I said that. Okay, when it comes to without a doubt, and that was Scorpion being the best science champion in the game. I said Scorpion without a doubt the best science champion in the game. So when it comes to the more of this video, I did mention that I based it on deep dive. That was actually not accurate. It was mostly because I based it on his buff details when it or his abilities. Because in the showcase, when it comes to deep dive, his Venom synergy was not working. I believe I'm pretty sure it was not working. Okay. And that's one of those pro players I think we ever had in the game. Probably the only pro player I can think of ever had in the game. If Kabam knew how powerful the Venom synergy was, it would never make it live in the game, okay? When I saw Venom synergy with Scorpion, oh my god. The synergy is broken. I mean balance. Yeah, completely balanced. So I was like, this guy is without a doubt going to be the best science champion in the game. Okay, so I based it on his abilities. And then here too, okay? When it comes to Mr. Sinister's best buff in 2024, I knew without a doubt he was going to be the best buff in 2024, okay? And I based it on his, not the gameplay, just based on his buff details. And when it comes to his buff details, I was assuming that his science regen works. In this case, it doesn't even work. So basically right now, the Mr. Sinister that you see is the nerf version of Mr. Sinister, okay? Because his science regen doesn't work. So at this time when I made this video, I was assuming that it worked, okay? So even without his science regen working, I think without a doubt he was the best buff in 2024. And I like a lot of people, of course not everybody would agree that he's the best buff in MCOC. But I think if we had a vote, I think Mr. Sinister would win, okay? When it comes to the best buff in MCOC. So that's the only 2 times I said without a doubt, okay? When I say without a doubt, I am like 100% sure knowing that, okay? So what happened, okay? I want to give a shout out to this person right here. So what happened? Sweeta made a video saying that Angela is better than Hercules in incursion. Look at that, I got 53,000 views. And I want to shout out to this person. I cannot tell when his comment was. This video was about 2.5 years ago. So it says 2 years, so I don't know exact date. But maybe I wasn't the only person. But this person who made a comment saying Angela with Odin synergy and Herald is broken. So this person is smarter than this Karate Mike. And this guy works for Kabam. It's really just sad, to be honest. But it is what it is. So what happened after I said that? Sweeta made a video saying that that Angela is better than Hercules. Who else? Dooley Ray said that Angela is better than Hercules. Got 56,000 views. Okay, so it's really important to be able to think critically. That's what my point is. They literally nerfed the hacks in incursions. Okay. Specifically for Angela, and I'm going to tell you why they did that. Okay, let's take a look at some gameplay. So this is why they literally nerfed the hacks to the ground when it comes to incursion, specifically for Angela. Keep in mind that was a 5-star with 3-star Odin, and you could tell by Hercules PI it was not even that far in incursion. Look at that. Yeah, you're not seeing things. Okay, that's for real. That is 345 million damage with a 5-star. And I made this video saying that she could do like 10 things in this video that in this play that Angela could have done better. I really think even as a 5-star, and this was with 3-star Odin, by the way, even as a 5-star, Angela could do 1 billion damage. Okay, and keep in mind, as you could see, like Hercules PI is not even that high because it wasn't meaning that it's not even that far in incursion. So the more fights that Angela win, the stronger she gets. So this was not, as you could see, it's not even that far when it comes to incursion. So, so that means a 7-star rank 4 with a 6-star rank 3 Thor relic, I know without a doubt could hit a damage cap of 2.1 billion. She can't do that now, of course, because they nerfed the hacks to the ground specifically for her. That's how broken she is. Not OP, broken. Okay, I'm not even kidding. And Hela, if you've seen my videos, when it comes to Hela, I think she's close now to being the best champion in incursion when it comes to Angela, because they did nerf hacks specifically for Angela. So, but I think still it's close. I might still give it to Angela. I know they got rid of Tranquility. I don't know if that's gonna be like for now on. But that's a big nerf. I mean, that's a really big problem for Hela when it comes to Tranquility. I remember I have the video on my main phone, but it broke. But I never got to post it. But I was comparing Angela and Hela, who's better. And then the thing that took Hela out is Tranquility, because, it just gets rid of all her buffs. And Angela, she could beat opponents so fast that, like, what Tranquility happens after 20 seconds. She can beat like almost like any help in the game under 20 seconds. So it doesn't even matter to her. And even she loses all her buffs, she can gain them right away, and then she's able to like do so much damage. Not like Hela, where you have to ramp her up for it's gonna take time to ramp her up, and then with Tranquility, you just get rid of all her buffs, including her indestructibility. And she's just literally, if you see my fight with Hela, she's just a broken version of Hercules, not OP, broken version. Okay, and my most views video is when it comes to Hela, the definition of broken. Now, some of you have probably seen it, but if you haven't seen it, just go to my most popular video. You'll see what I was indestructible and unstoppable for like a minute. Okay, that is the definition of broken. So come on, where are you at? There it is. Okay, so another thing is, perhaps just kind of briefly talk about it. We'll talk about it in a different video. I personally think even nerf hacks Angela is better than Steve. Okay, and so is Hela. That's how. And nobody, I think, if you say who's better, Steve or Hercules, when it comes to incursion, I think most people would say Steve. But this is just show you how much better Angela is, even though they nerfed the hacks and Hela as well. Dude, I'm not kidding, dude. I'm not kidding to you. I'm not joking. I've used 4 revives already, okay? And I don't have any revives left. Do I? Look. I ran out of revives. I'm not going to spend units on this, okay? This is the end of the run for me. So, some of you already seen it. My Angela and Hela video, I used 4 revives to get to zone 80 in sector 6. If you've seen my video, you already know. 4 revives to get to sector 6. I mean, to zone 80 in sector 6. Maybe even past that. And here, 4 revives, I'm in zone 4. Okay? I'm in zone 5. I used 4 revives. So I think Angela and Hela is better than Steve. So, in another video, I'm going to create, like, can we create a champion that's unbeatable in MCOC? That's going to be a hard task. I don't know if that's even possible. Can we ever create a champion that's unbeatable? Obviously, that's going to be broken, but that's another video perhaps. So, yeah, that's it. So, the main point is you should be able to think critically. That's the most important thing. You don't need to follow anybody's tier list. If you're not able to think critically, you're just I don't know what to say. You need to be able to think differently. That's what I'm saying. Another thing is, when I talked to Karate Mike, and this guy works for Kabam now, he said that Hercules is broken. Again, this guy works for Kabam. He has no idea what he's talking about. And I was outnumbered. I remember Gito was saying that, no, dude, look, everybody's saying Hercules is broken. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what broken is. Okay, you've never seen what broken is. And I was like, I said many times that Hercules is OP. He's not broken. There's a big difference. And yet, when it comes to Hercules, he didn't even make top 10 best cosmic champions in the game for Trappy. Okay? He went from broken champion to not make the tier list of top 10 best cosmic champion in the game with just an extra star. Okay, not even a full star, just a half star, because 7 stars can go to rank 6, and most people don't even have 7-star rank 4s, and they're probably like sig 20 or unawakened. So you gotta be careful calling champions broken. I think Hercules is OP, and I still think for he's Trappy's the top 5% player. I think for the bottom 95% of players, they're still gonna make Hercules useful. So don't get me wrong, Hercules is OP but not broken. So, and most people like Gito saying everybody's like Hercules is broken, including Karate Mike. And this guy works for Kabam and he has no idea what he's talking about. So there you go. If I wasn't able to think critically, I would be like, I would just go by the crowd. Like you have to be able to think differently, critically. If you don't, you're just, I don't know. Yeah, that's it.